impromptu car rant on lessons learned from being a homeschool administrator. It is 5 minutes to 7 on a Sunday morning. There's a lot going on. We have been physically rehabbing our homeschool space so that we could rent it out over the summer. And that's going well. I'm getting great responses on Peer Space. I've had a few people drop by to view the space. I know I have July pretty much booked up, so I'm hoping that I get some June bookings as well. It looks like the June bookings are going to be a one-off, like a pair party there so far. The reason for that is so I can lower costs at the homeschool space. So I paid about the equivalent of 1 month's rent to completely use an interior designer's advice. Redo my space so that it would attract other groups to use it, and that has been wholly successful. I'm hoping by doing that for the rest of the year, I booked out on the weekends, 3 days a week we don't use the space, we can have someone else using it. And that will substantially lower the cost of the homeschool program, making it self-sustainable. When you're asking for grants for your not-for-profit, one question that they ask is, how are you self-sustaining? As in, do we need to pay to keep your lights on and your rent paid? Or do we just need to pay for your programming? Because they're more interested in paying for the programming. They want to know that the money they give you directly benefits the students or population that you're trying to serve, and that it's not getting eaten alive by overhead. So for those of you that follow me, and I know there's a good amount of people that follow me because they run a homeschool program or they want to run a homeschool program, my recommendation, keep your rent as low as humanly possible. If you're lucky enough to be in a church, that only requires that you pay them a tithe, which is 10% of your income. Don't let that be a reason to be lazy about enrollment. Sure, you have the enrollment, that's 10% of your income makes a difference to them. If we're going to talk about mistakes, right, that I've made, was that when I was in a church, I didn't have this frantic need to have my enrollment to a certain number. And so that 10% eventually was not enough to pay for the utilities of the time that I was using it. So if you're going to be using a church space, please be hyper aware of your responsibility to not be a drain on that church. And I've seen this happen in many homeschool programs where the church is giving, no families are coming to the church through the homeschool program, which is kind of low-key low. So if you're not helping them recruit church members, right? And for us, we're not a religious organization, so we're not helping them recruit church members. It is our duty to make sure that we're not being a drain on the church and we're actually being an asset where we're bringing in money, like there were a few dollars left over after they pay the bills that are associated with us. So that's one huge lesson learned in running a homeschool program. Is I think you should pay based on percentage of enrollment. Now, last year I made the decision to pay. I looked at the percentages. I did the math, and then I set the teachers' rates, and then I froze those rates. So when I had a problem last year and families had to go, I was still paying a much higher percentage than I should have been paying teachers. I don't regret that because it's not fair to the teachers that enrollment's not that the enrollment at the end of the year didn't meet with the enrollment was at the beginning of the year. That's not their fault. I don't want to be adjusting someone's pay based on enrollment, but you do need to set your initial pay on your enrollment. So I really believe that by setting your teachers and staff on a percentage, that everyone is invested, and everyone's invested in the care and feeding of the students. Everyone's invested in even mentioning their work to other people and helping you recruit. I think that's definitely something that I'm going to stick to. But I think setting salaries at a percentage, even if you set them for the year and then freeze them, um, with some more bonuses should enrollment increase mid-year, because that has happened, right? Barring extenuating circumstances. Delegate, delegate, delegate. What I learned this year is that I was doing entirely too much. And it's not that I had planned to do too much, it's that I have a very reactive personality. If I see something needs to get done, I'm not going to tell someone to do it. I'm going to do it. I've had my staff look at me and say, I could have done that for you. Why did you do that yourself? And like indignant, like why are you upset? I saw a thing had to get done and I did it. And they're like, but you're tired. And so give your staff permission to correct you and adjust you. Number one, if I learned nothing else that year, I learned that because these people know care about them and therefore they care about them, right? So allow your staff a voice to observe, make suggestions, right? Allow your teachers to create their own program. When you choose your staff, when you hire, pay attention to the people and not only, can they fit this role that I need, but how invested are they in your organization? How invested are they into homeschooling? Because if anything that has made me not hire people in the past, it has been because someone was discriminatory against demographic at all. When I say I'm all inclusive, I'm all inclusive. A prospective music teacher was concerned about if the children were questioning gender at all, because she didn't want to really be dealing with that. And then she didn't want to bring in her own kids and have them even aware of such things. And I was like, thank you, but I'm not going to hire you, right? Because that's none of anybody's business. Children's personal business is children's personal business. I'm not sharing with you anything said or unsaid in your child's personal business. If a child wants you to know their personal business, they'll tell you, right? So that's kept me from hiring people. And then another person who I absolutely adore, personal friend of mine, had them come in to help with some acting things. And actually, the kids asked for that person to come back and help them again. It could be, prepare for a show, memorization tips and things of that nature. And this sweet person in front of the children said out loud that homeschoolers are not socialized. And I wanted to hire them for a bigger role the next year. And I did not. So make sure that the people that you surround yourself, the people who are impacting your students, and impacting your programs, impacting you and your health, make sure that those people believe in what you're doing, understand what you're doing, but make sure that people that you hire understand homeschooling, champion homeschooling, passionate about whatever subject they're teaching. I've said a million times this year that I want my teachers to bounce into the room excited to teach, not like, oh gosh, another day of science, oh gosh, another day of math. If that was, I could teach every subject. I'm capable of teaching every subject. I'm just only truly passionate about history and art, and only teach history and art. Why would I teach anything else? Because children can feel that lack of energy. Like, I know the subjects, I'm not passionate. And so I guess that's my final point. Make sure your teachers are passionate about what they are. And so that is my impromptu current on lessons learned from being a homeschool administrator. Learn what I did right and learn from what I did wrong. Till next time.